Greetings, all you maniacs, minds, and crimes, and today I just want to talk about some nostalgia trip. All of these memories just sort of flooded back to me for some reason when I was watching Steve-O videos on his channel. God, Steve-O he's definitely an interesting person, I'll put it that way. Anyway, so I really just want to talk about like the early 2000s and the place that I lived and some of the stupid shit that I did. So first off, there's this big storm drain, like this huge storm drain that during heavy rains would be this just tidal wave. Anyway, all of this took place. It was still in Maryland. It was Silver Spring, Maryland. Yeah, Silver Spring, Maryland. In that area. And actually, one of my dogs named Bucky was actually found as a stray on Bucknell Drive. That's why my mom named him Bucky. And we had him for years. Anyway, going back to the storm drain. This storm drain was an entity of on itself. It was mysterious and scary as fuck because there was this tunnel, right? And you look down this tunnel and it's just a black void of just echo. And no one was brave enough to really venture in there. I don't even know how far you could get in, or how far you could go. But a lot of my friends were like, "Oh, there'd be skeletons in there. There'd be like cult worship. There'd be all sorts of scary, scary supernatural things. You'll disappear." It was pretty wild. Um, and the furthest I made it in was probably about 100 feet, and I was just like, I had a flashlight and everything, and I actually had a BB gun with me. That was gonna keep me safe. Cheap ass BB gun. It was all metal, so I could beat the hell out of something with it. But anyway, so in the storm drain, just along this huge storm drain that was out in the open as well, under some of like the underpasses and overpasses and everything, there would be like graffiti. There'd be condoms, both filled and empty. I know, gross. There'd be BB guns that still had CO2 canisters in them. There were those BB guns that looked like real guns. Um, and cell phones, of all things. So very mysterious objects. Very, very mysterious objects. One of my friends said he found a bag of cocaine. I don't think that's true, but if it's true, it wouldn't surprise me because this storm drain, it knows all. If it's still there, it still knows all, and it should be worshipped as the god entity that it is. Anyway, what kind of stupid shit did we do in it? Not a whole lot, to be honest. My brothers and I really didn't do a whole lot there, but anyway. So the next thing. This was God. I don't even know what year this was, but there was this big uh hill right next to a street. It was a very big hill, and it was completely iced over. So the big kids and my older brother, who was one of the big kids, made a path so everyone could climb up, and we grabbed anything we could find, trash can lids, commercially bought UFO sleighs, which are the disc sleighs, if you don't know, disc slides, all those things. Some people just penguined it. One dude actually had a car hood, which was pretty fun, but he couldn't stay around for very long, unfortunately. And I really wanted to ride the car hood. Anyway, that hill was not safe at all. The ice was honestly pretty scary because it was very, very slippery and very fast. And also, ice, if you shatter it and are on it when moving fast, it's like glass. It will cut you up. But luckily, that never happened to any of us. But I do remember me getting a running start at the top of the hill and going all balls deep down that hill on the slickest of sleds that I had. I think someone brought like skate wax. So I think I cleared the street. I honestly think if I remember correctly, I cleared the street. Remember, this was so long ago, so I. It's very possible I didn't, but it was a small. It was like a 2-lane street, so it was probably very possible that I cleared it or just slid across it because I think everything was iced over. But that was honestly some insane fun. We basically stayed there all day, only going in to eat, and then we'd be right back out. Man, those were the days. It was really awesome. Another stupid thing that my younger brother and I did, especially, was we would find old lighters. See, old lighters everywhere. We don't know where they came from. Probably crackheads and just drugs everywhere in this area. This area wasn't. I'm not gonna say it was ghetto, but it sounds when I describe it pretty ghetto, right? And it kind of was not. It wasn't like drug and just gang ghetto, but there were Crips around, if I believe. So there is that. There were gang members. Anyway, so we found all these lighters. And what would two kids do with lighters? Well, of course, we would slam them on the ground and walls and make them explode. One day, we found a lighter with, let's say, a little bit more fuel than fumes. And we slammed it on the ground, and it was loud. It sounded like a gunshot. Normally, it sounds like a bag of chips popping. It really isn't that loud. But this one was really loud. And the cops came. The cops actually showed up. We were long gone. We were long gone. And we were hiding in our room. So, we were never talked to by the police. But speaking of the police, I remember one time the cops actually showed up to our house. We don't know why. But my younger brother and I were playing Halo 1 on the PC, and one of the cops actually decided to stick around for a few minutes and talk about Halo because he was a big Halo fan, and he claimed to know someone in Bungie that actually developed the artwork for Halo. Really wild. I don't know if I believe him, but we also did prank call Xbox, so. Yeah, I actually prank called Xbox, and one of the dudes actually started to break down, and we actually just had a conversation for about an hour, just talking about games and everything. And that was one of the days where I was just like, maybe I shouldn't be a douchebag, because as a kid, I wasn't super well behaved. I tried my best to be well behaved, but I was just like, you know what? No, I just want to have fun. I don't want to play by the society's rules. Yeah, I was kind of an edgy kid. Anyway, now let's talk about some injuries that I personally had. So, first off, there is a spot under my knee on my leg where the skin has never really fully healed. Now, what the hell happened? So, there was this big hill, and I decided to go down it on my scooter and try to take a corner sharp, and I fell. I ate shit. Skinned my knee. No big deal. It hurt like hell, but I was just like, yeah, whatever. But then I realized that there was a flap, and this flap was thick and dead. I was terrified of just ripping it off because I had no idea of the consequences of me doing that. I couldn't really rip it off anyway, but I basically just band-aided it and hoped for the best. I also cleaned it very well, and it healed, but the skin was never truly replaced. Even now, after all these years, there still really isn't like an incredible amount of feeling in it. There really isn't. I pick at it every now and then from it's just like a tick that I have. I tend to pick at scabs and everything, and I'm a dumbass for doing that. But man, that was really bad. I didn't tell my mom. Another thing that happened, which was probably the scariest injury I have ever had, other than being bit in the face by a dog. You could say, "Whoa, what could top being bit in the face by a dog?" I think I had a concussion, a minor concussion, because I went down a hill on my bike, slammed into a pothole, and my world turned upside down, and I slammed on the concrete. Just bam, right on the fucking concrete. And the last thing I remember was there was four things I remember. One, I remember my breathing. I was very heavy breathing because I was also tired. Two, I remember the clicking of the gears on my bike. Three, I remember my footsteps. And four, I remember the road and the world just sort of rocking back and forth with after images. It was nuts. It was absolutely wild. And I can't even really remember the walk home. What I do remember is talking to my mom a little bit. And the next thing I knew, I woke up under covers with Mythbusters on. And that's it. And then I went back to sleep. And then I was fine. Like, I didn't really have any headaches. I didn't have any other injuries for some reason. I was like the luckiest motherfucker alive. Like, seriously. If I really wanted to, I felt like as a kid I could have done whatever the hell I wanted and I would survive, but I didn't do that. Alright, so I know this is probably going to be sort of a longer video because I have a lot to talk about, man. So, how did my friends and I and my brothers really spend most of our days other than playing video games and watching TV? What we would do, we would hang out at the Best Buy of all places and eat candy. I was sort of a candy junkie and just a junk food junkie. I really didn't eat too many healthy things. I was just all sugar all the time, and I kind of fucked myself up doing that a little bit. I don't have any really lasting impressions. I feel like I don't have any lasting effects from it, but I think it was one of the reasons why I became malnourished and vitamin deficient, which I already did a video on. If you're interested, just find it on my channel. And that was fucking hell. But anyway, we hung out at the Best Buy. We also went to the local Checkers a lot, and I mean a lot. And man, that Checkers, so good. So good. Going back to the knee thing. In school, I would show my friends like, hey, I fell off my scooter, right? And slammed my knee on the ground, and this skin can't feel anything. And one of my friends decided to poke it with a needle. I didn't feel a damn thing. So I took the needle and put it even further and further until I really couldn't put it anymore. I was just like, I barely feel anything. And my friend there was just cringing his eyes out. Like, dude, don't do that. My God. And I think I even remember taking a thread and needle and actually like sewing into that little skin flap. Oh my God. I honestly, why did I do that? Idiot kid. I was also in a band, not like a rock band, but in the school band. I was always late to school, well, most of the time. But a school that I went to was it was horrible because I literally took 6 months off school, no penalties. I was just like, you know what? I'm taking a summer break in the middle of winter. Nah, not going to school. Not doing it. Not doing it. I was a retard. I was an absolute retard. I also remember near, like, I think it was a shopping center or something. There was, of course, there was a Checkers that we frequented, but there was also a vending machine. There was a vending machine there, not too out of the ordinary, right? There's a few of them, in fact, but there was one that was pretty banged up that basically always stole your money, but you could always get something free from it if you kicked it or if you shook it. It was the only vending machine that did that. And it was very jacked up and just trash. But for some odd reason, it was always refilled. Even though there was pretty much no money in it ever. It was always refilled. I don't know why. I don't know what Good Samaritan was doing that for the neighborhood kids. But they're a saint, whoever they are. And, man, I love that vending machine. It's probably long gone because this was back in like '05, I think. Good God Almighty. 15 years ago. 2005 was 15 years ago. Fuck. A crazy thing that my brothers and I did was this was probably one of the stupidest things we've ever done because it could have actually gotten us killed or seriously hurt. What we did, we took a water bottle. We would dump all the water. Okay, so just empty water bottle or soda bottle, whatever, just a bottle. We would fill it with lemon and lime juice, and then we would pour baking soda into it, seal it, and shake it. And if you know anything about chemistry, that makes a fuck ton of CO2. We basically made dry ice bombs. And these motherfuckers, when they went off, they went off. They seriously went off, and they were fucking scary and dangerous as hell. So one day we did it with a Gatorade bottle. The cap blew first. Thank fuck. And that thing then went shooting off. But another retarded thing I did, I took one, and just as it was bulging out, because we've watched it, we've done it so many times, we know when it was going to explode. We basically use the same amount, almost always the same amount. Man, we were like little scientists. And I unscrewed the cap. That thing went shooting off. I couldn't even hold on to it. It just went gone. I really wasn't holding on to it anyway because I wanted it to shoot off, but I got covered in the stuff. And it smelled really weird, and I don't know if I'll ever be able to describe it, but it's honestly pretty weird. And yeah, we never had one explode really close to us, but the explosion was loud enough. Even if we chucked it as far as we could, my older brother chucked it as far as he could, it was still very, very loud. We even took a 2-liter and did the same formula and rolled it down a hill. Rolled it under parked cars and set off car alarms. Oh my god. Luckily, we hid behind bushes and no one expected anything. Although there was this liquid everywhere. But we were long home by that time. So, basically, I was an absolute fucking degenerate. Such a fucking idiot. Just the dumbest of dumb. And somehow I got through it without ever really being, like, hospitalized. Or having a broken bone. Or, having the cops actually talk to me about not doing any of this shit again. It's crazy shit. Very, very crazy shit. Now, did I ever take my BB gun and shoot lighters with it? No. I don't think I ever did that. Or I might have, and I just don't remember. It was one of them cheap-ass BB guns. It shot metal BBs, but it was just like this lever-action rifle, super small. And you would just crank it once, and it would just sort of lazily... And the BB would fly out. The BBs hurt, but they weren't like super duper dangerous. Although, yeah, definitely could take an eye out. But I mean, a human eye is literally so fragile. Anyway, that's basically just a trip down memory lane of what I was like way back in the early 2000s. This was nutty. This was just some stupid shit. And do I regret any of it? Not really, because fuck it, it's in the past. Did my brothers and I ever reenact Jackass? Of course we did. Did we ever take a shopping cart down a hill? I think we did. In fact, it's very possible we did. At least I did, if I remember right. Again, this is very long ago, and I was very young. So that's basically it. That's just trip down memory lane. And I think this is going to be the last in real life story video I ever do, because after this point, nothing happened to me of note. Really, nothing happened to me of note. Just went through school, ghosted through school, not a lot of friends, that weird, awkward kid. I just really didn't do much after this because I just sort of calmed down. I was just like, you know what? One of these days, one of these stunts is really going to hurt me and could cripple me for life. So thank you guys so much for watching. And remember, in Trilby, we trust.